Hi, everyone. I am so happy to join you today to share more about Slow Food Nations. Are, as you might imagine, in a very fluid, slightly crazy, and equally exciting part of the planning process where new things are coming together each day. And I hope that today I can bring you in just a little bit, even to share in that excitement with all of us at Slow Food. I see. Sorry, one second. We have some feedback going on. Me? Oh, okay. All right, we're having some minor technical difficulties. So I'm back. I, I was saying I see some familiar names on the call and also new participants. So while some of you may have heard this before, I'm going to start with a general overview just to get us all grounded. And then we'll talk more about specifically the delegate process and experience, and generally what people can experience at Slow Food Nations as a delegate or a day participant. And then we'll wrap up with some questions and comments. So just to center us all, we're gathering in Denver in July, inspired by Terra Madre, which occurs every 2 years in Italy, to exchange experience, feed our curiosity, build community and build bridges, and be inspired by those around us. The event will start on Thursday evening for delegates with a reception, and Friday continues the Delegate Summit with the launch of the public event Friday evening, which carries on then to the main pieces of the event on Saturday and Sunday. And we are partnered with this, or we have a team, event production team who's helping us called Danny Wimmer Presents, and they are fantastic and have quite a bit of background in large festivals, lands, and a ton of creativity that they bring to the team. The event will attract about 500 delegates, and then we expect roughly 10,000 visitors per day. There are pieces of the event that are free and open entry, and there are also portions of the event that are ticketed and will be reserved in advance. We'll talk about some more of the components, but people can expect to experience a marketplace, tastings, workshops, performance, tours, and a lot of inspiration throughout the weekend. The main hubs for the event in Denver are Denver's Union Station, which is a functioning transportation hub in Denver. It's a beautifully restored building with a lot of history to the city, and it's where the light rail comes in from the airport. It's where the Amtrak arrives, the buses, and it's just a great hub for gathering and a place with very good energy. If you see on this map, if you're on a screen, you will notice that the other main hub is at Larimer Square, and Union Station and Larimer Square are about 6 or so blocks from each other. It's about a half-mile walk, and then there's also a free shuttle that goes from down 16th Street between the two. And that is where the main pieces of the event will take place. Union Station will be both indoor and out, and at Larimer Square, the streets will be blocked off to traffic, and that's where we'll find the marketplace and prepared foods, garden installations, a culinary stage, and a lot of ways to engage and taste. So many of you may know our delegates registration is open, and we already have nearly 200 delegates who are registered to attend. While you don't have to be a delegate to participate in Slow Food Nations, delegates are slow food ambassadors and food system leaders. They may be people who are engaged in the Slow Food Network already or want to be or are curious to be. They may be partners or people who work in the similar space in the good food movement who want to attend and take part in a deeper way throughout the weekend. And what the delegate fee is $200 for Slow Food members and $250 for non-members. And what delegates receive is a welcome reception on Thursday evening, the delegate summit on Friday, and breakfast and lunch on that day. And also, every delegate will receive 2 tickets to select events throughout the weekend, in addition, of course, to participation in all the free and open entry pieces of the festival. And we're pulling together discounted hotel packages, and we'll provide a delegate directory so everyone can stay in touch. Registration is open now, and please remember to join the Facebook group. It's a great way to communicate with other delegates around any questions or meetups or things like that in advance of the event. And I think that perhaps the best way to describe what the weekend might look like before we get to the point where tickets have launched and we get a more specific feeling is to describe what a day in the life, so to speak, or a weekend in the life for a delegate may look like. So imagine you arrive in Denver on Thursday or earlier if you want to come and take part in some things that will happen leading up to the event. There'll be a few things like meetups or tours or dinners that will happen leading up to the Thursday. You can take light rail from the airport to Denver Union Station and walk or ride to your downtown hotel, your Airbnb, or other accommodation. And then on Thursday evening, you'll gather for a welcome reception hosted by local Denver restaurants, listen to some remarks, and connect with friends new and familiar. The first 250 delegates with paid registrations will receive a complimentary ticket to the Big Eat, which thanks to our partners at Visit Denver for their support of that. That's an annual celebration that's hosted by Eat Denver, which is the local independent restaurant network here. It's an evening of sampling small bites and beverages right in the center of Denver's performing arts complex. And tickets are also available to purchase for that. On Friday morning, delegates will gather for breakfast with others to kick off the Delegate Summit. And this day will include national and international meetings, speakers, and breakout groups. You'll have a chance to learn from others in the Slow Food Network and be inspired by partners and dig into some of the complex and fun topics related to slow food. You might choose to explore food policy and how to engage. Learn more about slow fish or the Arc of Taste, or discuss how food justice and the good food movement can be stronger and make good food even better. Slow Food USA members will also have the opportunity to vote on the national statute, helping to shape the future of slow food in the U.S. And you'll leave the summit inspired and ready to take on the weekend. On Friday evening, we'll convene at Denver Union Station for the official opening of the public-facing part of the event. And as a delegate, you might choose to use one of your complimentary passes to enjoy the opening night party or spend your evening at another dinner or gathering of your choice. Saturday and Sunday are really when it's full of opportunities to engage in Slow Food Nations. Maybe you'll start at Denver Union Station, otherwise known as the Taste Terminal. You can gather information from the Welcome Center about all there is to do. Maybe you attend a free talk in the Food Underground, which is a series of rooms in the underground of the terminal, or meet an Arc of Taste producer at the Arc of Taste installation and sample a taste of their product at the free tastings there. Next, perhaps you'll follow the trail of snails that lead to Larimer Square, which hosts the Festival of Flavors. And here you can wander through the open entry taste pavilions and sample or purchase good, clean, and fair food products. meet the producers and learn more of the story behind our food. You'll want to make sure you have your ticket to the Sure to Be Sold Out talk featuring Alice Waters, Jose Oliva, Ron Finley, Nishal Nishan, and others, and leave inspired about how the food movement is making a real impact. You might be getting hungry at this point. The chance to purchase prepared food from various stands, or maybe enjoy a craft beer, or fill your water bottle with Denver's finest at the filling station. Maybe next you've bought a ticket to Stephen Satterfield's Root to Leaf workshop and be inspired about using all parts of the vegetable and reducing food waste in your kitchen. Or you've purchased a ticket to hear Notes to a Young Farmer, hosted by Stone Barnes, with seasoned contributors who will share their stories and wisdom for the next generation. You might need a break from the crowd and the heat. You can stop off at one of Denver's local restaurants or shops, or wander back to Union Station to relax downstairs in the delegate lounge and meet some others. You could stop off at the Tattered Cover across the street to peruse the Slow Food Nation's recommended reading, or maybe meet a visiting author like Deborah Madison. And now you're ready for the evening. You might start the night with a wine tasting, followed by a celebration of Mexican food culture and heritage at Kamal, which is Denver's incubator and cultural kitchen, with special guests from Slow Food Mexico. Or maybe you'll choose to dine al fresco in Larimer Square, family style. You can collapse in your bed after all of that day and look forward to the next day, because you don't want to miss the continued opportunity to engage in conversation about food justice, join the Big Bad Breakfast hosted by John Currents, tour an urban farm, participate in a cacao workshop, and then relax at the closing picnic to convene and reflect upon your weekend. A weekend that is very full, as you can tell, which those are just some highlights. And I wanted to invite, I know Jennifer Breckner is on the call, and she offered to say a few words about why she's excited to be a delegate at Slow Food Nations. So I will turn it over to her, if we can bring her on the line. Lauren?
Jennifer,
Unmuted.
I think you have to unmute yourself, actually, if that's possible.
Here she is.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi Jennifer.
Hi, Krista. Hi, Lauren. Thanks for asking me to talk today. I am really excited to be a delegate at Slow Food Nations, and if you, I probably know some people on the phone call, but I just wanted to say I've been volunteering with Slow Food for about 7 years now, and I started off just volunteering for various events, and then for 4 years was on the chapter of Slow Food Chicago, and I'm now the chair of the Midwest Arc of Taste Committee. And so I've been at all kinds of slow food gatherings, everything from regional meetings to national meetings. I've been to Terra Madre, Slow Meat, and you know, I'm kind of a lifer when it comes to slow food, and that's in part this long-time commitment is I feel really influenced by the fact that I've been at these meetings and these gatherings. And so what I'm really looking forward to, which is what I always look forward to when Slow Food brings people together, is you know, sort of hearing about other people's work, getting to share the work that we're doing in the Midwest. And you know, I feel for like a lot of us, you volunteer and you feel like it's in a vacuum and you're not really sure how the impact that your work has. And I feel like coming together with other volunteers and hearing about the projects that are going on is always really inspirational, and it sort of helps boost your confidence about what you're doing. You know, slow food people are really the most fun to be around, and you know, so I love meeting new people, hearing about projects I didn't know was happening, and also having really challenging conversations. You know, I always, you get to go see talks, you get to participate in those things, and then, you know, there's always like the line for lunch where then you're having these really crazy, intense conversations with people, and that's really inspiring. I would be lying if I said that part of why I always love to come to these events is the eating and the drinking. because there's nothing like it. The ability to take taste workshops, or even just to, the lunches are always really thoughtful. And then, you know, to be in Denver, which I think is a great city, I think those are the things, you know, I sort of come back after these gatherings and look forward to coming back after Slow Food Nations to be sort of recommitted to the work that I'm doing here in Chicago and in the Midwest, um, and to have a renewed energy about it, you know, because volunteer work can sometimes, it's really wonderful, but sometimes it can be hard. And so I just always feel really excited when I come back from these. And I'll just say lastly that you know, I also feel like it's a little bit prestigious to be a delegate. You know, I'm probably past the age where gaining acceptance by my parents is something I should be doing, but it's always a thrill to be able to call and tell them, you know, that I've been chosen as a delegate to a conference. And I just think they're really fun events, but they're also really educational. So yeah, so I'm really excited to meet you all in Denver, and I wanted to thank, you know, people that are organizing this. I know you're doing a lot of hard work in a very quick time span, and so we're all really excited about it.
Thanks, Jennifer. Thanks for sharing your perspective and thoughts. um, So many participants will choose to engage in only the public-facing pieces of the weekend and skip the delegate summit on Friday. The experience will look very similar to one I just described, or maybe you choose to make a weekend of it like that, or maybe just buy a ticket to join the beer, burgers, and bluegrass party on Saturday afternoon, for instance, where you can sample grass-fed burgers, blended burgers, and meatless burgers. Perhaps you're coming and you're on a budget, so you can look to take in the free talks, peruse the marketplace, and engage in Arc of Taste tasting. And be sure to catch Denver's Farmers Market on Saturday morning to experience the best of Colorado agriculture. There'll also be a number of family-oriented activities. If you're looking for that, you should check out the Garden Pavilion, where kids can engage in garden programming, tastings, and some cooking. There's really going to be so much to do and many ways to engage, and more exciting things are added to this lineup every day. Just to give you a sense of some of the other things that have happened, the conversations that have happened in this past week, the most exciting just happened right before this call. We're in the midst of forming an exciting partnership with musician Jack Johnson. Maybe many of you know that sustainable and local food are a big part of his fan engagement and his green tours. So we're excited that he will be in Denver during this time, and we'll keep you posted on what that might look like in terms of Slow Food Nations. We've also just recently talked to the Kellogg Foundation in Mexico, to Slow Food International about an Italian pavilion, to Stone Barns about hosting the next generation of farmer discussion, the James Beard Foundation about how do we engage chefs in food policy, and Alice Waters about school lunch as an academic subject. And we're learning every day that we will be joined by delegates from around the world, most recently Cuba and Peru, Melanesia, Kenya, Canada, Mexico, and Japan. So it's getting pretty excited, and I hope that you share in my excitement around that. We will launch ticketing in early April. At this time, you'll be able to go to the website and try to plan out how you would like to experience your weekend here. There'll be different tracks that you can follow or suggestions for how you might want to navigate, because there is so much to do. So keep watching the website for details, and definitely use the website to find answers to your questions. There's lots of frequently asked questions out there, and we continue to add more information to that over time. A few final points before we open up for questions and comments. Another key piece of this, as I mentioned, is the marketplace, which will include exhibitors from all over who will bring their products that represent good, clean, and fair food. The exhibitor application process is open. As a reminder, the early incentive pricing ends at the end of March, March 31st. And those who apply and are accepted to exhibit before that time, the cost is $895, and they also receive a complimentary delegate ticket. After that date, the pricing goes up. And you can find more information and answers to questions about being an exhibitor on the website. There's an exhibitor page with all of that, including the application. So we'll open it up for questions and comments. A few final points as reminders that are on this slide if people can see it. Delegate registration is open now. Hotel discounts for delegates are coming soon. The exhibitor application is open and early pricing deadline ends March 31st. General tickets will go on sale in early April. You can stay connected through the website, slowfoodnations.org. And if you'd like to join the Slow Food Nations Volunteer Network, there's a place to sign up on the website. And if you can't find answers to your questions there, please contact the team at sfninfo@slowfoodusa.org. All right. Thanks for listening. We'll open it up for questions.
Thanks, Krista. That was great. So just a reminder for folks to please submit your questions using the chat function. We'll try to keep everyone muted just so we can hear Krista respond and just keep background noise down. We had questions come in throughout the presentation, so we'll just kind of start at the beginning. Beth Kunkel is asking if we filled out the paperwork to be a delegate, are we to assume that we will be a delegate, or are we still waiting to hear back? And Krista, maybe letting people know how many delegates have registered would offer some good perspective.
Hi, Beth. Thanks for the question. The delegate process is a self-selection process. So if you register, you should get a response after that provides you a link to pay the registration fee, and then you are a delegate. We currently have, excuse me, about 200 delegates who have registered, and we have capacity for 500.
Thanks, Krista. Bob Gregoria is asking, what time is the welcome reception on Thursday, July 13th?
Hi, Bob. We'll have more details about it soon. The current plan is that it will begin around 5 p.m.
Jim Brett wants to know where the exhibitors will be located. I know you showed a map of the venue spaces, Krista, but maybe an orientation just for exhibitors.
Sure. Hi, Jim. The exhibitors will be located, and if anyone's looking on their screen, they can see I've pulled the map up again, where you see Festival of Flavors and Larimer Square. That is where the marketplace will be. Along with that is also where the culinary demonstration stage will, the outdoor stage will be placed, as well as the garden installation and family cooking area.
We had a question come in from Virginia Till. What is our approach to engaging local agricultural producers and associations, including the Colorado Department of Agriculture, the Colorado Proud program?
Hi, Virginia. Thanks. Oh, and sorry, hold one moment. I'm also going to go back to Jim's question. That exhibitor space will be covered. It's outside, but it will be a covered structure. Virginia, so we are working with a number of different groups. We're trying to engage, of course, as much of the local community as we can. I just had a call with the Rocky Mountain Farmers Union this week, and also through the Colorado Tourism Office, which the CDA is part of, the Colorado Department of Agriculture is part of. I have a meeting with them next week to talk about how they may engage. I expect that you and I should talk soon. I know we've tried to do that, so thank you.
Great, thanks, Krista. Let's see, the next question. Someone asked if the Facebook group is Sorry, let's see, finding this question. Is the delegate forum on Facebook public or private? Not everyone has a Facebook account. So the group, I believe, is a closed group, meaning you can find it if you search it on Facebook, but you have to request to join it. I will paste the link to the delegate group in the chat function now so people can click on that if they would like to see. And so we recognize that not everyone has Facebook, but primarily the goal of the group is to allow delegates to connect with their peers. And if people have ideas, thoughts, advice, want travel buddies, or to attend something with someone else, that's a good place to connect with other delegates. And we have found that Facebook is the best way to facilitate that, even though we do know that not everyone has a Facebook account. Let's see. We have a question from Joni. Sorry. What is the difference between the taste area and the flavor area?
So the general difference is, so Union Station is being called the taste terminal, and that basically describes that space there. And what will happen in Union Station is outside in the plaza there will be a welcome space and an information kiosk where people can come as a general focal point to gather to get information, and that's also where any tours that happen will depart from that space and arrive. Inside of Union Station is where the Arc of Taste installation and tastings will happen. And then in the underground of the terminal in Union Station is where we'll have a series of free talks that will be hosted throughout the weekend, as well as the Delegate Lounge, which is a place where delegates can use throughout the weekend to connect with each other, to relax, and have a space for networking. And then at the Larimer Square, which is the Festival of Flavors, is where the Taste Marketplace will be. There will be the Taste Pavilions where exhibitors can share their story, sample their product, and sell their product. There will also be food and beverage to purchase in that space, as well as the garden installation, which will engage everyone, and especially families and children in programming around gardening and also cooking.
Thanks,
and then
Krista.
surrounding both of those spaces, yeah, I'll just add that surrounding both of those spaces are where the ticketed pieces of the event will take place, and that will be at various venues mostly within walking distance, and some of the evening dinners and events may be within a short ride. And there'll also be some things happening right across the street from Union Station at the Tattered Cover, which is our local independent bookseller, who will host author signings and talks throughout the weekend, and also have a great section of Slow Food Nation's recommended reading where people can purchase books.
Great, thanks, Krista. We have a question from Lauren. Do you have to be a delegate in order to attend on behalf of a company?
So if you would like to attend the Friday Delegate Summit, then you should register as a delegate. And if you would like to participate in the pieces of the event on Saturday and Sunday that are open to the public, it is not necessary to come as a delegate.
We have a couple questions that have come in from Lisa Frank. I'll take a stab at this first one. The question was, are there any Slow Food Youth Network functions being planned? So we're definitely hoping to host a disco soup event, which is a very famous Slow Food Youth Network championed event that happens all over the world. There's actually an International Disco Soup Day happening in April. And so we're hoping to raise awareness around food waste and have a fun lunch involving music and outdoor space and young people and older people and everyone. We also are in communication with some Slow Food Youth Network individuals from Europe, including Joris Lohman, who's from the Netherlands, about possibly coming to Slow Food Nations and seeing if we can organize some kind of youth-oriented social enterprise, like day-long workshop hackathon. So there are lots of ideas in the works, and we have some people, in our working groups with a lens and a prioritization for youth programming. So that definitely is on our radar. Krista, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that.
No, that you covered it. Thanks, Lauren.
We had another question come in from Lisa. Let's see. Is there programming available that we can see? You mentioned several things, so some kind of list of what we've confirmed, I think is what she's asking.
So the way that will be, well, there'll be two things. One, as soon as we get everything finalized, we'll have some information that will go out to delegates that will give them more specifics around the weekend, as well as the agenda for Friday's Delegate Summit. And then when the ticketing launches in early April, all of the programming that is both available to purchase tickets and also the free talks and other pieces will be listed there. And the website is the best place to stay tuned for those updates.
We have another question from Joni Sayre. Joni, sorry about mispronouncing your name. Can delegates set up their booth on Thursday so that they can attend the Delegate Summit workshops on Friday?
So we are working with the production team and the city to determine when load-in and setup can happen. But it is likely that a lot of that will need to happen early Friday morning, but we will keep people posted so we can make sure to coordinate with those people who are also taking part in the Delegate Summit. Thank you for asking.
We have a question from Katie Core. If you signed up to be a volunteer for the weekend, when can you expect to hear a confirmation or further information?
So thanks, Katie, and thanks to everyone who has signed up with an interest in volunteering. What we'll do is we'll be reaching out to people once we've identified the specific jobs and places where we will need assistance. And really our first task is to get the programming finalized and map that all into venues and get that done. So I expect it will be a few months from now when we'll be reaching out.
Thanks, Krista. Let's see. Are chef demos okay in booths?
So the short answer is yes. The longer answer is that for everyone who has an exhibitor booth, what will happen is there will be someone who will contact you. Anyone who's registered as an exhibitor will receive personal contact from an exhibitor coordinator who will understand what you would like to do and what your plans are. Because it would be good for us to be aware of what's happening. And if there are some things that you have questions about now, just go ahead and reach out and we can help provide as clear answer as possible.
Thanks, Krista. So we have a few questions here that I can answer. How soon will this recording be available if you want to share with chapter members or fellow board members? We'll hope to have this up on the website in the next couple of days. So we just ask for your patience on that. What is the name of the Slow Food Nations page on Facebook? I did paste it into the chat function, so if you just scroll a little bit, you'll be able to find the group that way and request to join. Let's see, another question here about exhibitors. The early pricing deadline for signing up for an exhibitor booth, what is that date again, Krista?
Hi, it's March 31st.
Thank you. So March 31st. We may have changed the date on what it was originally, but it is now March 31st. A question from Elsie Rose in Florida. How can I become a delegate, and what is the cost to attend as a delegate?
Hi, Elsie. Let's see, if you're looking online, if you go to the website, there is a delegate page where you can find the form for registration. Cost to be a delegate is $200 for Slow Food members and $250 for non-members.
Thanks, Krista. A question from Craig. Have the hours for Sunday been set? Are they 10 to 6? Are they 10 to 4? Maybe doing a quick overview of what the hours might look like throughout the weekend would be useful, Krista.
Hi, Craig. That's a great question. 10 to 6 is the marketplace on Saturday, and 10 to 4 on Sunday. And then the ticketed things will have their own timing, which will be noted when those are up on the website. But that's the general timing for the taste pavilions.
Great, thanks, Krista. A question from Julia Kendrick Conway. Let's see, is there a preferred rental company for booth furnishings? And if so, who should we contact?
Hi, Julia. Thank you. Note for anyone who's an exhibitor, you don't need to rent your own booth things. That's part of the exhibitor fee. We have a team who will be designing that structure, and the booths will be part of that. And someone will be in touch about what you should bring with some specifics, but it's mainly kind of your product and your marketing setup for your space. And again, once people are registered, we will be in touch about that too.
Julia had a follow-up point saying that they are looking to rent Metro racks to display their products. I'm not sure what that is.
Hi, Julia. What may make sense, because given what I just said, you really shouldn't need to do that, but perhaps reach out to, what's the email, Lauren? Exhibitors? Wait,
SFN. We just created this email address today to try to make things a little bit more, having things go where they should go. So we created a new email address, and it's sfnexhibitors@slowfoodusa.org, and I'll paste it here into the chat function. So if you have very specific questions about being an exhibitor, this email address is the best place to direct those. So there are actually a few more questions. I'll just go out of order for a second, also related to exhibitors. What is the size of the space, and are we still looking at capping it at 100?
It's roughly an 8x8 footprint, and yes, we are still looking at 100 as the capacity.
Thanks, Krista. And I just pasted the SFN exhibitor's email address into the chat function if you'd like to send an email. Okay, let's see. We have lots of questions here. Thanks, everyone, for being so thoughtful. Sarah Wilson wants to know, what will the cost be for the general public?
So it really depends on how you choose to take part. You could, in theory, participate in Slow Food Nations with very little costs if you choose to attend mostly the free and open entry pieces. Or if you choose to go to ticketed tops, there might be some workshops that are $50 each. The tours are still being priced. So it really, people will be able to participate in a variety of ways depending upon how they choose to map out their weekend.
We have another question here from Joni. What if we want to sponsor a delegate? Is this a question or an option on the delegate registration form?
Hi, Joni. What a great question. And yes, it is. When someone registers to be a delegate, when you receive the link for payment, there is an option to contribute to a, a sponsorship for another delegate or a scholarship fund for those who need assistance. Thank you.
Thanks, Krista. Let's see. We have another question here from Ann Cohen about volunteers. She submitted her contact information to be a volunteer. Will there be another call about volunteer service?
Hi, Ann. Yeah, thank you. There will be, and it will be once we have more definition around the various ways, specific ways that volunteers can engage.
This is one more quick reminder that this call is being recorded, and I will paste the web address into the chat function of the page where you can access the recording once it's made available, which we will do in the next couple of days. A question from Theodora Stephen. I completed the exhibitor registration and I got an email saying I would hear back about next steps, but I did not receive additional emails. How do we complete delegate registration? So Theodora, I think you're asking about delegate registration and not exhibitor. You mentioned both here. Maybe Krista can speak to the feedback you should receive about both being an exhibitor or a delegate.
Hi, Theodora. If you completed an application form to be an exhibitor, then you should get a response right away to let you know that we confirmed or that we did receive your application, and then we review them and then get back to you within a couple of weeks with a link to pay a deposit or pay in full to be a registered exhibitor for those who are accepted as exhibitors. And from a delegate registration standpoint, for delegates, you would complete the delegate registration form. You should receive confirmation that it was received. And then within the week, typically, it's been a little bit of a high volume, you should receive a link back to pay the delegate fee and then your registration is complete.
Thanks, Krista. I just pasted the link for the Leader Resources page on the Slow Food USA website, and if you scroll about halfway down to the Leader Calls heading, that is where this recording will be posted in the next couple of days. Okay, let's see. Another question. What is it that so this is from Beth Wyatt, what is it that we want volunteers who are non-delegates to do at the event?
Volunteers who are non-delegates at the event. Well, we'll need an army of volunteers to support this event. So whether you're a delegate or not, well, there will be opportunities to volunteer in a number of ways. So for instance, you may be the host for the venue at a workshop space. Just being in the space, making sure everything's okay with the room as an assistant to the event coordinator for that space. You may help with the team who is managing our sustainability team, who might help direct people about the waste protocols and what we're doing there. You might be helping support the information booth. So you can see there could be a number of different ways that you might support the different venues, general operations of the event, and other things like that.
Thanks, Krista. We have a question from Meg following up on the delegate Facebook group asking why not make it public, so as many other events also do this in order to allow all delegates to connect. So I think the reason that the Facebook group is not public, but rather anyone can request to join, is just so that we can manage it and make sure that there's not a lot of spam being put up on the page. And I think most of you on Facebook know these days there are lots of like false accounts. So just for us to keep an eye on it, but by no means are we trying to like heavily regulate it. Just trying to keep things somewhat managed. We have a question from Zeno. How do we travel between the 3 locations?
As you know, so there are two main locations. I know if you're looking at the map, which I just pulled up, there's a block at the bottom that says events and collaborations. That's really to indicate that there are a number of different venues around downtown Denver that will host workshops and parties and talks. Between Union Station and Larimer Square, which are the two main hubs, is about a half-mile walk. So that is an option, and there will be a lovely snail trail to follow to guide your way. And or there is also, if you see in the middle of the map where you can see 16th, there is a free shuttle that runs down 16th Street, so you can walk about a block from Union Station to pick up that shuttle and then get over to Larimer and walk about another block to where the Larimer Square hub is. In addition, Denver has a wonderful B-Cycle program, which is a public bicycle program that can be used to go back and forth between those two places.
Krista has already touched on this, but I guess what is included with the exhibitor space? So maybe if she just goes back to that slide, you can see that being an exhibitor, there are lots of infrastructure support and other things, including she mentioned that the size will roughly be 8 by 8. Yes.
So the cost for the exhibitor includes the space and it includes the build out, as well as access to electricity from your booth if you need it, and also to not at your booth but on the site refrigerated storage if required. And then there's also access to the exhibitor coordinator to work with you on how the space on your specific needs. And we should have in the next month diagrams coming out that will be a better visual representation of what that space will look like. We are still in the process working with the event production team and their creative team around the exact design.
Thanks, Krista. We're coming up on the hour. We have about 10 more minutes for Q&A. So I'm going to try to go through these questions, and if it's something we've already talked about extensively, I might skip ahead here. So we have a question about, hold on, let's see. A question from Gary Granada. Do speakers / panelists need to be paid registered delegates?
If people, so the general thing is if you're participating as a speaker or a presenter as part of the delegate summit, as part of the Slow Food Network, generally yes, and I think that's fairly consistent with how national gatherings have occurred in the past. And then outside of that, of course, if people are participating on different days for the public-facing event, not necessarily, no, it's certainly not a requirement, but of course we would welcome to have that level of engagement throughout as part of the delegation.
We have a question from Kendall Antonelli, wondering, let's see, are there specific opportunities for Slow Food USA small business members, small business supporters?
That is a great question, and it might be, I would love to perhaps follow up to see what your thoughts are, but we definitely, any small business supporter, just like previous Good Food Award winners, are pre-approved as exhibitors in the marketplace. And then there, of course, is an opportunity to participate in other ways throughout the event. But I would be happy to follow up with you after this so we could talk more about what perhaps that could look like.
Krista, Kendall, if you're able to email SFN exhibitors at slowfoodusa.org with your question about small business supporters, that would be wonderful. We have a question that came in from Stephanie Samara Hamblin asking if there will be a dinner made with all the food left over, like the one at Terra Madre. I can take a quick stab at this question, just to have everyone be rest assured that we do have Leah on the team, on the planning team, who is very cognizant of sustainability and food waste, and is working on making food waste, raising awareness around it, be an important part of the event. So we don't know if this exact thing will happen, but it's certainly a possibility. It's a great idea. Thank you for sharing, and we're definitely hoping to minimize food waste at this event. And Krista also has something to add.
Yeah, Lauren, I'll just add to that in my conversations recently with Stephen Satterfield from Atlanta, who will be here and participating, as well as the National Resource Defense Council. Stephen is excited about the opportunity to put something like that together and perhaps do a lunch on Sunday that is a family-style meal that is using other parts of food that would otherwise have gone to waste throughout the event. So we're working with him on what that could look like and the coordination that would be involved.
Thanks, Krista. A question from Susan Hamer. Once we pay the delegate fee, what other fees will there be to attend?
Hey, Susan. So the delegate fee covers the pieces of the delegate summit, and also includes 2 tickets to ticketed events throughout the weekend. So the additional costs to attend would be anything around accommodation, and then also any food purchases outside of those that are provided during the delegate summit for breakfast and lunch. And then any additional ticketed events that you would like to attend during the weekend, such as workshops, parties, tours, other things beyond the 2 tickets that delegates will receive.
Thanks, Krista. Someone's wondering who is handling press relations.
So we have well, that will be a combination of the Slow Food USA team, as well as we have a PR partner called the Fresh Ideas Group, and they will be working with us on that aspect.
A question about scholarship funds that are available to delegates, and how does a prospective delegate find out about the funds available? Will they need to pay up front?
So in this first year, there are select amount or limited amount of scholarship funds available. Those that we have confirmed are in support of certain international and indigenous delegates who are coming from indigenous communities. And what we're doing is asking people when they do register to be a delegate if they want to add any notes about scholarships that would be, if scholarship support would be helpful. And we're taking that into account, and there are a lot of generous people in our network who are offering to provide additional contributions to support that. And then we are also working on other creative ways to support scholarships for others, like Arc of Taste Farmers and others who will be attending. So if the best step right now is to complete your registration form and indicate that support would be helpful, and then we will be in touch once we have a sense of the different sources of funding and the approach for that.
Thanks, Krista. This is just to clarify one of Joni's points. Yes, so for exhibitors who sign up before the March 31st early bird deadline, they do get 1 free delegate summit ticket, but anyone after that date can buy a delegate registration pass. So yes, that it will be available for purchase, assuming we have not sold out yet. Let's see what else we have here for questions. How many exhibitors have signed up to date? A question from M. Pierre Fredericks.
We have about 20 exhibitors signed up to date, and then about that many waiting in the wings who we've had conversations with who I think are coming.
Thanks, Krista. Any details on the Chefs Alliance activity and how can one of our chefs participate? Lisa, thank you for asking that question. I'll answer that very briefly. Slow Food Nations will mark the public launch of the Slow Food USA Chefs Alliance, but from now until then, we are working on soliciting feedback from chefs and sort of doing a soft launch within our network. So for anyone on the call, if you're a chef or you know a chef who's interested in slow food values, please email us at chefsalliance@slowfoodusa.org. I'll paste that in here about how you can learn more about participating in the alliance. Lisa has another question. If all of the program slots are full?
I'm sorry, what was the question again, Lauren?
Sorry, Krista. Just wondering if all of the programming slots are full.
Oh, in terms of, okay, sorry. They are, no, they're not completely full. They are nearly full. We're basically in the part of the process now where we are taking all of the wonderful ideas and moving forward to confirming who and what and when. So we're getting close to kind of shutting that door, but if there's something, please send that our way.
Thanks, Krista. We have a few really specific exhibitor questions in here, so if you could please direct those to the SFN exhibitor's email address, that would be great. A question from Bob. Are there events on Saturday and Sunday being organized by Slow Food USA, or are some of them being locally organized for which we should check another organization's website for further information?
Hi. We are hoping to, whether Slow Food is organizing the event or some partners are, to try to highlight as much as we can through our website. But I'm sure that there will be other things that are happening that weekend. A great calendar for that is the Visit Denver City calendar. It is a great source to find what is happening throughout the city on a regular basis. So I would recommend checking that.
Thanks, Krista. We have a question about what kind of slow beer programming is happening, possibly brewery tours.
Hi, so beer will definitely be a part of Slow Food Nations, and we're working with our, as many people may know, Colorado has a really strong craft beer community, so there will be things happening around craft beer, and if there are guest craft producers visiting as well, and we are pulling that together. There may be some craft beer tours. There will definitely be some workshops that include beer tasting, perhaps like a beer and cheese or beer and charcuterie tastings. With respect to slow beer, which I have come to learn has a very specific definition as a beer that is produced using an archive taste product, we will also have a small amount of programming to feature that and for people to learn more about the program. We are working on that. What I hope will happen is we'll find a local brewer or two who will work on some collaborations, and there will be a slow beer tasting event that will happen during Slow Food Nations.
Thanks, Krista. We have a few more questions. We're at 3 o'clock. We'll just go through these last few questions. So thanks, everyone. A question from Warren Neth, wondering if Slow Food USA got grant funding for this event and what kind of staffing the conference has.
Hi. We do have different kinds of funding for the event, both from sponsorships and foundations, and the staffing in general is the Slow Food USA core team, which is a very small staff, along with our event production team, which is Danny Wimmer Presents. And I don't think I'm leaving anyone out there, Lauren, if you...
We also have a wonderful team of interns in the office who are helping us really make Slow Food Nations happen. So we're very grateful for everyone who's contributing to that. How many chapters have already signed up for a booth?
Actually, none have officially, and unless this was the latest information I had earlier in the week, signed up. But I have had conversations as well as Lauren and Leah with, I think, at least 10 who are interested, so roughly. And so we're expecting a great representation for the different regions and chapters around the country and beyond.
Thanks, Krista. We're going to make this last question from Derek. We'll round out the call. How is the regular exhibitor space different, if at all, from the Arc of Taste installation where the ARC producers will be set up?
Hi, Derek. Thank you. So the regular exhibitor space can also include Arc of Taste producers. The difference is that the exhibitor space, producers will be able to not only share their story and sample, but also sell product. The Arc of Taste installation at Union Station is more of a programming and tasting way to engage. So it will share information about the Arc of Taste, and then there will be different tastings on the hour or so that will be free and open, and people can participate and learn more about the Arc of Taste. Someone can participate in the Arc of Taste installation and tasting without being an exhibitor. In fact, it often makes sense for some Arc of Taste producers who may be smaller in terms of their volume, and it just perhaps doesn't make sense for them to have a space in the marketplace, but they can certainly still be represented through the Arc of Taste programming. I hope that helps answer that question. The Arc of Taste is an important program to highlight during Slow Food Nations, and even in the marketplace, we will have different icons and things like that that will also help highlight what's happening in the marketplace. So Arc of Taste producers will be identified specifically.
And I'll just add to that, Krista, that if specific people are interested in participating in the Arc of Taste programming, but maybe don't feel that they're a large enough size to be an exhibitor, please just email me, and we'd love to work with you and make sure you're represented at the event. And I'll paste my email here. So that brings us to past an hour, and we went through a lot of questions, and we're really, really excited about this, and we love that there was such great turnout for this call. Krista is incredible and has been working so hard to make this happen, so very grateful to have her lead us through all of these updates, and we look forward to speaking to you all again soon. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, everyone. Talk to you soon. And hope to see you in Denver in July.